So as I mentioned earlier today, obviously over the weekend you had a Trump-appointed judge rule that Donald Trump cannot federalize the Oregon National Guard and send them into Portland because none of the things that Trump has said are actually happening. The judge, of course, was U.S. District Judge Karen Emmergut, who said in the decision, quote, "The president's determination was simply untethered to the facts." Which, of course, means Trump's administration lied about what's happening in Portland. It's not burning to the ground. Insurrectionists have not taken over the streets. Antifa's not running the local government. None of that's happening. It is untethered to the facts. So she said, you can't release the National Guard. And then immediately after that, top Trump ghoul Stephen Miller got on social media to basically put a giant target on the back of that judge. Stephen Miller said, quote, "Legal insurrection. The president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, not an Oregon judge. This is an organized terrorist attack on the federal government and its officers, and the deployment of troops is an absolute necessity to defend our personnel, our laws, our government, public order, and the republic itself." None of it's happening, Stephen. But you accusing this judge of mounting a legal insurrection, which for the record is not the first time somebody from this administration has used that terminology against any of the judges that have ruled against Donald Trump. To the point, by the way, and this is, I think, part of Stephen Miller's, motive here, the same day, that evening, that Miller went out there and accused this particular judge of mounting a legal insurrection against the administration, a different judge in South Carolina, Judge Diane Goodstein, had her house burned to the ground with her husband, children, and grandchildren inside of it. Nobody died in the fire. Multiple members of the family are in the hospital with severe injuries because they were forced to jump out of the top story of a 3-story home to escape the flames. But that particular judge, we're still waiting on the cause of the fire. Could have been an accident. Or it could have been something far worse. Because this judge also recently ruled against the Trump administration and their data grab in the state of South Carolina. Remember, they wanted all the data from all the people so they could weed out who's here legally and who's not. South Carolina has huge farming communities, so there's a lot of undocumented people. And this particular judge said, no, you don't have to turn it over to the federal government. This is ridiculous. A couple weeks later, after massive attacks on judges from the Trump administration, her home is burned to the ground. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe not, right? I mean, after all, we've had to sit here and listen to these horrible human beings for several weeks tell us that your words have consequences. You can't call people names because then somebody's going to do something terrible to these people. Where are all those people, right? Where are all of these conservatives, including the ones who searched me out on my Facebook page, people I went to high school with, like, you stop using that language. You're part of the problem. Where are y'all now? Huh? Trump sends out a meme over the weekend saying Democrats are the party of Satan. Show me where you condemned him. You condemned me. Show me where you did it to him, because that's far worse than anything I said. The thing is, y'all are all hypocrites. The thing is, y'all want the violence to happen. You just don't want it to happen to your side. Stephen Miller, I firmly believe, wants these judges attacked. That's why he uses this language. That's why he talks about terrorists, insurrection. These words invoke strong feelings among these people who most likely probably actually took part in an insurrection on January 6, 2021. And they'll do anything they can to defend and protect Donald Trump, even if that means attacking judges. It's no longer hyperbole. As far as we know, it's happening. These aren't just threats anymore that these judges are receiving, and they are receiving a ton of them. That judge who had her house burned down, Judge Diane Goodstein, again, from South Carolina, she'd been receiving death threats for quite some time from MAGA people mad that she ruled against Donald Trump. So no, I don't think it's a coincidence. That'd have to be the biggest coincidence in the history of coincidences. It's the reality that Trump and his goons like Stephen Miller have created for us here in the United States. Thanks for watching, everyone. You know, we're inching closer and closer to 1 million subscribers, and we're aiming to hit that goal before the year closes. So if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please do so, and don't forget to like, comment, and share. Thanks for joining us as we head towards this huge milestone.